hands and your knees first. Put this here out of the way. So if you feel that you want a wee bit extra cushioning underneath the knees, then feel free to grab a cushion. You can kind of fold up a towel, have it under your knees, anything like that is just going to give you a wee bit extra padding. And you're coming down here. So you want to have your hands underneath your elbows and then underneath your shoulders, just so they're a nice straight line, so they're not too far forwards, and your knees should be underneath the hips here as well. Hopefully you can see my trousers okay. We're going to go into cat-cow, so you're going to tuck your tailbone down slightly, bringing your chin towards your chest and you arch through the spine, and then from there tailbone lifts a little bit and your head comes in front. So you're not kind of overarching the back. So there, and then coming round. Try and make sure the elbows stay nice and soft. The elbows are bent as you're doing this one, and you're trying to think about moving from the pelvis. So rather than moving from the spine itself, think about moving through the pelvis. Take a breath in when you're here, and then exhale as you arch up, and then inhale as you come through. Doing that again, exhale. So the beauty of being at home, even if you were in class as well actually, is if you do want to sit and have a wee rest at any point, then you can. If you want to sit and watch, you can. Just make sure the elbows are bent so you're not locking out through the joints. So just moving through the spine. Once more. So exhale and then inhale. From there, I'll turn around so you can see me here. So from there, you're going to take one leg straight out to the side. So you can either be down here or you can be up here, just whatever position suits you best. This leg is going to go out straight and you've got the foot flat on the floor, and we're going to stretch into the adductors. So you can either just sit the bum back, you can use a chair in front of you, or your ball. Somebody had a ball. Ashley, was it you that had the ball? You can have the ball in front of you, or you can place the hands to the floor and just sit down. So your bum can stay up, or you can bring the bum down towards the heels if you want. I'm just going to tilt myself just a wee bit, because I think, yeah, because I'm on the floor. So there. So you can either sit the bum back, you can keep the chest lifted, moving back, straightening this leg to stretch the inner thighs. And you can just gently move the hips forwards and back. So you're moving back, and then you're coming forwards. Keeping a bend in those elbows. That's us. Perfect. And then we're going to go for a calf stretch. So that same leg comes behind, and you're pushing the heel down towards the floor this time. So I'll do it here. Pushing that heel down, lengthening through the back of the leg. If anyone is getting any kind of heavy legs, foot swelling, any cramps in your calves, this is a good one to do before you go to your bed at night. Those that are a wee bit earlier on, if you're earlier than about 30 weeks, you can lift a wee bit higher, or you can stay down low as well. Good. Hold it there. Perfect. Ashley, I meant to actually say at the start, all of these can be adapted to standing. So if there is any of them you want standing, just unmute and let me know if you don't feel comfortable being down for any of them, or anyone else for that matter. I'm just saying to Ashley because she's 32 weeks, so just anyone else as well, obviously. Okay, then you're just bringing the knee back in, hands there, and then you're just moving the hips from side to side as if you're wagging your tail like a wee doggy. Wag, wag, wag. So we do really focus on the hips quite a lot through pregnancy because it is the centre of the body, and it's there's a lot of change in that area as well, so it's quite important. Let's go for calf stretch on the other side this time. So straightening that leg out, pushing the heel down towards the floor, feeling that stretch in the calf, and if you want to, you can lift here, just to get a bit of a deeper stretch. And as you're there, just try and breathe. Just breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just in whatever rhythm feels nice for you. And then we're going for your adductor. So the legs coming out to the sides, foot's flat on the floor, keeping that leg straight. And again, your hands can be down and just let the body move forwards and back. Or you can keep the bum towards the heels, or if you feel more comfortable, you can sit up, because you still feel the stretch when you're here. Perfect. And then come in from there. You're going to come onto one knee this time. So again, if you want, keep the cushion underneath you if you prefer. Have this leg out front. I want to do hip flexor and quads. So rather than typical hip flexor stretch would be coming forwards here, you would lift back, but you tend to compress through the lower back slightly, and through your postural changes, we're kind of doing that already. So bringing that heel back a wee bit, and I want you just to think about this bum cheek. So the knee that's bent here, squeeze the bum cheek and tuck your tailbone under and feel the stretch here, kind of up into the top of the hip. You might feel it down into the quad as well. If you need to hold anything for balance, make sure you've got something next to you, so your big ball, a chair, a wall, anything like that, and then just untuck and then do that again. So tuck it under and hold it there. If you want to increase the stretch a wee bit, the same arm comes up and just reaches up as high as you can. So reach, 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 tucking the tailbone under, and then just bringing it back down. Let's swap over to the other side. So just take your time. I'm just going to shift here. Foot comes, that's the same leg, Pam. Other leg comes out in front. So not too far forwards, and then think about here, squeezing through the bum, tucking the tailbone under, lengthening through the front of that leg. Hopefully that feels quite nice, particularly for the girls who are 27, 28 and 32. And then untuck, and then do that again, tuck it under. And again, if you want to, you can reach that arm up, and it just brings the stretch. It just kind of lets the stretch come up just a wee bit higher into the body as well. Good. And then come down. So you're going to have your knees on the floor, tuck your toes under, and then just sit yourself back. So if you bring your feet together and pop the knees out to the sides. So you're in what we call goddess in a yoga position. So your knees are out to the sides, the feet are together. This is why I wear bright trousers normally, because you can't see my legs that well against the underneath the bed. I'll obviously never get that memo today, mind you. I will next week. So knees are pushing out to the side to stretch the inner thighs, and if you feel confident or you feel your balance is okay, you can lift a hand. You can lift two hands. You can take them into prayer position, or you can keep the hands on the floor or on the ball or on the chair, just anything that feels comfortable for you. And you're just breathing, just breathe. Good. And then we're going to come up to stand, so just whatever's easiest way for you. You might want to drop the knees and place one knee down first and then come up with the other leg. There we go. Okay, grab your bands if you've got one, or your leggings or your tights or whatever, and this is definitely one of the most favourite exercises that people have for this class. So you're taking the hands down, the hands are quite wide, using a resistance band here. It's not really for the strength that we're looking for it, it's more just for the movement. So you're taking the arms up just to come up over the head, and then coming back down to move just a wee bit. I'm up in the attic, you see my boudoir, studio boudoir is up in the attic. So as you're taking it up, I'll show you side on. So my shoulder blades start to pull together, and my hands start to pull apart on that band or on your tights or your leggings, whatever it is that you've got. Taking it up. And it's a really nice release into the front of the body, because we tend to round our shoulders lots through pregnancy. And then you can take it up, and if it feels comfortable for you, you can take the arms round behind, and then you just bring it back again. So this is best to do with the band or your leggings or your tights, as opposed to doing without holding on to something, because then you're cheating. One arm will move, not so much cheating, one arm will move differently to the other, whereas doing it this way kind of keeps them moving at the same pace, keeps them moving within the same range, and one side might be much tighter than the other. So just do that again, a couple more. How does that one feel when you do that? Does it feel quite nice? Hopefully it does. Yeah, good. Amy's liking that one. I keep wanting to call you Martin, Carly, because you've got Martin on there. Perfect. Good. And this is a really nice one to do if you're sitting at a desk quite often, because you're maybe home based at the moment. Just sitting at your desk, doing up over the head a couple of times, maybe 3 or 4 of those, and then move it into the full circle. So rather than just going straight into the full circle, or doing it maybe after you've done some other exercises, good as well. So this time you're going to take the hands up to the top this time, and I want you to think about keeping, I'll do it on my knees just so you can see. So this hand here is going to stay still, but this hand is going to pull, and then coming back up. Then this hand stays still, and the other hand pulls. As opposed to, yeah, does that make sense? So one hand stays still, and you're drawing down, and then you're lifting up, and drawing down. And as long as you're breathing, don't get too caught up in the breath, but as long as you are breathing slightly. Breathing slightly, just breathing please. So one side then the other, and it really helps to release again into the lumbar spine, and it kind of mimics, you would bend down using the sides muscles in the body. So it's getting them kind of worked a little bit as well, coming down and then back up. Let's go for a couple more. So down and then back up. Perfect, and then last one. I'll come back up. You can do these seated as well, so you can do it on maybe your big gym ball if you're using that. We'll talk about a gym ball later. If you've not got one, go get one. You can do them sitting on a chair, you can do them sitting on the ball and stuff as well, so you don't have to be standing to do them. The next one I want you to do is a squat. So I want you to take your feet out nice and wide, and toes turn out towards the side. Let's drop the band just now, we'll just deal with the squat. So your hands are just coming onto the hips, and I want you to think about when you're doing this one, sitting the bum back and then lifting up. So it doesn't matter how low down you go, you're just bending the knees as if you're going to go here, as if you're going to sit down on your chair, on the ball, sitting the bum back, so you're working into those glutes. And then you can use the band, so you've got just a wee bit of movement here, and as you come up, you just pull the band wide. So here you're just working into the muscles across the back of the shoulders, across the upper back, in between those shoulder blades and between the scapula. Good, breathe in on the way down, then breathe out as you come up. Breathing in on the way down, breathe out as you come up. Breathe in on the way down, perfect. And back up, just keeping those arms about chest height as well. That's it, exhale as you come down, come up, sorry. Perfect, so the legs are feeling a wee bit warmer. And then just have a wee rest there. So the next squat, I'll show you it first. I want you to do your squat down, and then as you come up, you turn to face the sides. So not all the way around, just to face the side. And your hands just stay in that position, so you don't have to pull the hands, but have a wee look and see what my feet are doing. So when I turn to this side, the opposite heel lifts, and you pivot on the toes, then the heel comes down, and then you pivot on the toes, yeah? Just so that you're not going to injure through the knee joint, gives you a wee bit more movement through the hips and through the back. So just check that heel's lifting, that's it. Perfect. Good. Some lovely bumps. Lovely. Perfect. Okay, pop the band down. We're going to do what we call a T-step now. So this one's really good for the hips, for the back. You might really like this one. So keeping this foot where it is, the other foot you're just going to turn, and I want you to make like the letter T with your foot. So the leg that comes over is like the top of the T, and this is the foot that stays still, and this is the foot that comes across, and you'll maybe just feel that the hips open out a little bit as you're doing that turn, and then coming back in, and then turn, and then back in. If that feels quite nice for the hip, you can either stick with that option, or you can go here and then reach forwards, pushing the hips back and then coming back in, and then step through. So crossing that foot over, reaching forwards and then coming back in. So both legs are straight when you do this, not locked out through the joint, but just straight, pushing the hips back and then come back in. Let's go for one more and we'll do the other side. So T and then reach, good. And then back into centre, and let's try the other side. So just do the leg first, taking it across and then bringing it back round. So making that T. One side might feel a wee bit more comfortable than the other. One side might feel a wee bit tighter. Keep going with that one. How does this one feel when you do this? Do we like this one? Is it feeling okay? Yeah, good. Perfect. And then you can start to add the arms as well if you want to. So you step and then reach and then come back. See, I feel that tighter on that side. My left side is not my friend ever. My whole left side. There, and then back in. There, and reach. So you're lengthening through the muscles in the back. You're lengthening through the muscles in the legs as well. Always remember your full body works together. Even though we say this stretch is for this particular area, but other parts of the body will benefit from it too. Okay, and then bring it back in. You're going to grab a chair or a wall. The further on you are in pregnancy, so maybe if you are feeling that on the chair's too low for you, you might prefer to do it on the wall, Ashley, but if it feels okay on the chair, then that's also fine. I will do it here. This is my pull-up bar that I use. Actually, I'm going to use this one. I don't actually recommend using a chair on wheels, just FYI, but because it's a wee bit higher, I'll use it. So you've got your hands here on the chair, or you've got your hands on the wall, so whatever you would want to do. And then just step back. You're roughly about an arm's distance, and then you're just going to push the bum back and then come forwards. And then pushing back and then coming forward. So my legs are straight, my knees are always got a little bend in them, so I'm not locking out. So there and then up. If I was on the wall, it would be there and then back in. And when you're on the wall, you've got that beauty actually of having your hands higher and then moving them down. So if you're on a chair just now, try this later, or if you can do it just now, try it against the wall, because every time you change position of the hands will give you a different focus down the spine, different parts of the back as well. Does that feel okay, that one? Leaning back, good. Perfect. And you can also hold it, so hold in that position there. And I want you to, I'm going to kind of shuffle over to the edge here. I'm going to take one hand over to the side and then take the other hand across, so that I'm kind of, instead of being centre, I'm kind of here. So my hips are going that way and my arms are going that way, and it really gives you a release down one side of the body. Anyone just want to stay there for a bit longer? And then take your time, swap to the other side, and always just breathe. Breathing practice is really important through pregnancy, because your lungs are kind of squashed, your diaphragm's shoved up out the way. Breathing really helps through labour as well, so we'll talk about that in the coming weeks. I always try and put too much info in week one, I really do. Coming over to the other side, and then you're just coming back in. Take your time, lifting up. And then, yeah, we've got one hand on this time. I call this one the stop and wave. So if you were on a wall, you would have your hand on the wall saying stop, and then this arm is going to go across and wave. So I'm going to use the chair and I'll show you. So my feet are just wide, feet flat on the floor, and the arms coming across and then back. So it's like you're at, I don't know, I Take That concert and they're doing, what's it called? A Million Love Songs, there we go. We all know those days, we all know those days. And then swap it over to the other side. So what you're doing here is you're moving the hips in one direction. So you're there, and then back. And it just helps if you have any type of hip tightness round here or round at the sides here. So that's kind of where the thigh crease is. This move is really good for it. So just having the hand out in front, that just helps you balance. And you're just waving but pushing the hips side to side. You can bend the knees as well if you want to. If you feel you get more movement, you can do that as well. So you're side to side. Maybe close the blinds when you do this one in case your neighbours think you're alerting them to anything. Oh no, she's in labour, better go and help her. And as I say, a lot of these can be done seated on a chair, they can be seated on your ball as well. Excellent. Okay, from there, just come back in, have your feet quite wide. Let's take a nice deep breath. Inhale, and then exhale, and then inhale, and then exhale, and then go for one more. Inhale, and exhale. Good.